Welcome everyone to the beta review of Half-Life 2. This is a beta review of the Half-Life 2, which was leaked way back in the day. For anyone who hasn't played Half-Life 2, which I'm guessing there's not very many of you because quite a lot of people have played it. It's probably the most popular game, first-person game in the history of mankind, to be honest with you. So yeah, this is like a beta version, which was a really early release of Half-Life 2. And what I'm going to do is I might put a little bit of footage in from the final version just as a comparison. So this is where Half-Life 2 begins, which is on this train.
I didn't see you get on.
As you can see in the beta version, incredibly badly rendered in that it's a very basic box with whatever the hell these benches are. I don't think they qualify for anything. Some dude who is clearly doesn't understand how seats work or how trains work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use no clip just to give us a little bit of a perspective on things. Yeah, so that is what I would call a very badly rendered train. But the train station itself is quite nicely rendered.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen, or been chosen, to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
Not how it looks in the final version, though, as I'm sure many of you will notice. Oh, look, there's another train in here. I didn't notice this. Oh, that looks much more nicely rendered. Is there a reason why you didn't use this one, lads? You've got no seats in it. Oh, there's some stairs and stuff up here. Ooh. Okay, what you'll notice is that a lot of the walls and stuff are untextured, and that is a Combine who is just chilling around quite nicely. See, this is quite random because I don't think you ever get up here, but fair enough. In the final version of Half-Life 2, you get off on this platform, I believe, and you walk through this gate here, and you walk off to the left. Obviously, you don't do that in this version. In this version, you go through this piece of gate here, which I'm on the wrong side of. As you can see, this is early, so obviously Dr. Breen's lines haven't been recorded yet, and there's a little notice coming up on the screen just to say Breen monitor spews a load of propaganda, as he does. In fact, they've not even bothered to render his monitor, he's just floating in midair, so very nice. The Combine are looking pretty decent. If I can get through the goddamn gate. What's wrong with me? The faces look a little bit different, I think. Like I say, I'll do a side-by-side comparison, but obviously the textures are not very good at all, unfortunately.
City 17 that I elected to establish my...
Also, I've just noticed the word error sort of inexplicably flashing up there. I'm not sure what that means, whether that's there intentionally or whether it is just indeed an error. The hallway of the train station is not as nicely rendered as the train shed is. Unfortunately, you would not find a train station that looks anything like this because it is a barren wasteland. Yeah, very simple walkway. Anyone who's played Half-Life 2 will know that this bit is where it starts to get really different because obviously the corridors are completely different. Where you go is completely different. However, the basic structure is basically the same. So you start off in the train station, you come through the train station, you queue up in line here. Obviously it looks different. This bit kind of looks a little bit more like it is in the final now. But you don't have to queue up like this, which is kind of pointless and annoying and waste time. So you can sort of see why they changed stuff, except he's decided to back off for some reason, but fair enough. Also, you start off with a crowbar. I'm not entirely sure if that's on purpose or not. And also in the final version, you can't force your way through like this. This isn't supposed to be possible. I'm stuck completely now. That's no clip. I've cheated the system, but I don't really know why. And no one seems to be too bothered about it. Some badly designed train tracks there. And in fact, this one's gone off the track, so well done. Oh, I can walk through the train. Very good. I kind of feel like they've gone into too much detail here, really. I mean, I don't really see why all this has been rendered, because you would never ever see it in a million years, would you? From that gate over there. Why is this doorway here and stuff? Far too much detail. Okay, I appear to have scripted something which was completely unexpected. And this doesn't happen in the game at all. And even when I've tested this beta run through, this has never happened. But Barney seems to have run down from there and he's now running through here. And now he's doing star jumps, I think. Barney? What's going on? Barney! Talk to me, Barney! Come back. So I'm guessing this was possibly supposed to be a play area at some stage. obviously it's not in this, even in this beta version, although it's only very, very loosely scripted. None of this does anything. Oh, there's another doorway over here which actually leads somewhere. Wow, what? Okay. See, this is why I love betas, because you can just find crazy stuff and it sort of gives you an idea as to how things were going to pan out differently. Obviously this whole first section was going to be completely different, I'm guessing, because none of this stuff is either in this beta version as a playable area, it's all gated off, but how much of this survives into the final Half-Life 2, I don't know. Hello Barney, you've moved. Barney tells you to keep going, he'll cover you. See, look, this is obviously they've scripted something was supposed to happen here. Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, that is really cool. I would keep going, Barney, through there, except it's a dead end and I will fall into the void. Oh, this is Dr. Kleiner's lab. Oh yeah, wow, okay.
What do you mean he's not there?
Okay, now this is getting interesting.
Come through.
Then where is he?
Behind.
Oh.
Ah!
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Gordon, you must get out of here. Run! Get down out of sight. I'll come find
What
you.
the fuck? What? Okay, this is insane. So, this is obviously Dr. Kleiner's lab, possibly in a cutscene. I'm guessing that this map then would have they were going to reuse this for later on in the game, at the point where you get to the lab and then you teleport all over the place. So this would have been the start of the Canal section. You would have jumped out of this window. Yeah, I'm being shot at there by the Combine. So I'm guessing you would have run through here, out through this door, and then back onto this train section, which is where you start the game. So I'm guessing this map would have been used twice. Appear to have died, and now I've respawned, but obviously the train is not here. Interesting. Absolutely fascinating. That is crazy stuff. Error! Anyway, we're going to continue as we should have done. Wow, the graphics on that look glitchy. Hello. Anyway, we're going to carry on as we should have done, if we can. Except I think I've broken the scripts in the level. So I can't... Yeah, the train station's unloaded and everything. Strange stuff going on here. So moving on a little bit, this is after the train station section where you run through the city streets, but that map doesn't load in this version at all, so we have to sort of skip on to this point. And as you can see, the word error is just floating in midair again. Fascinating. So yeah, there is a section, again like this, it is sort of loosely based on how the final version is like, so obviously we can go back a little bit and see the stairway that you run up in the final version.
Get in here, quick! Keep moving, head for the roof!
These round windows don't really look like that. This roof space looks very similar, sort of. Obviously the streets and stuff look a little bit different, but there is a roof section that's very similar to this in the final version, where you run down over this ledge onto this section. Again, this is not very well fleshed out compared to the final. So, obviously, and now for some reason this Doom buggy comes driving down the road. I don't really understand that at all, to be honest with you, but whatever. One thing you will notice is there's no music in this game at all, so it kind of doesn't have any atmosphere to it like the final version of it does. It feels very unpolished, but obviously it would be, it's an early beta. Obviously this defies the laws of physics in more ways than I care to mention. Anyway, this would be the roof space where you jump into, I guess, since we can't go any further. This is where you would meet Alex Vance shortly after being ambushed by the Combine. So yeah, this section, you run down these stairs. This doesn't look a lot like this in the final version. It kind of looks, it's like I say, this interesting thing about this beta is that obviously when they did say they were going to make a lot of changes to Half-Life 2. But narratively, it seems to be very similar. They've not really changed a lot in terms of structure. They obviously had this planned out very well from the beginning, and not too much changed in terms of the structure and narrative. So yeah, just skipping on a little bit, we're just going to take a quick look at the Canals level, which is quite prominent in the final Half-Life 2. Obviously, we have to no-clip to get out of that because it's kind of weird. The Canals level is one which has been changed quite a lot between this and the final. Again, narratively it's very similar. You've got to escape from the Combine through the canals because they've cottoned onto you, so on and so forth. But in terms of actual level design and gameplay, this has changed quite a lot compared to the earlier train station levels, where you can sort of see some similarities. Some bits even look the same in the final, but on this is completely different. Kind of weird texture in here, very low res textures. I mean, that water tower in the distance kind of looks like something from Animaniacs. Obviously there's not a lot of scripting in this, and it's kind of weirdly laid out. That health pack is glitching me out a little bit. That's weird. You can't get through this section, I don't think, unless do you swim underwater? Yes, you do. Okay, guess there was some logic to that. Oh, fuck me, what is that? I don't remember there being any... Was that my imagination? I'm sure I saw something swimming under the water there. Jesus Christ. I hope I wasn't imagining that. I really don't think I was. I'm going to have to look back at the footage. Can't seem to jump over these pipes. The physics engine doesn't seem to want to allow that, so I'm not sure how you get past this section. So I'm just going to stick no clip on, purely because this isn't very finished. In fact, it's so early, it's ridiculous, to be honest, and nothing happens. There's no script or anything, but basically the canal level's kind of fleshed out a little bit in terms of the design of it, but nothing really happens. Yeah, this level doesn't really lead anywhere or do anything. It kind of ends in this little dam area where I guess this helicopter would start shooting at you, a little bit like it does in the final version, but obviously it's not loading properly. I don't know if you can see at the bottom of the screen there is problems with the drawing issues and stuff, especially at high resolutions. I guess it just falls out of the draw distance too early or something, because I assume games do this in order, to reduce CPU requirements and stuff like that, but it shouldn't be doing it while it's on screen, so that's a problem. So things kind of disappear in a weird way. But yeah, there's this helicopter, doesn't do anything. What I'm going to do now is I think it's probably a good time to leave some of the normal levels for a little bit, which obviously were not finished, and take a look at some of the tech demos which came with it. There's also some E3 labelled levels. I'm wondering if they were the ones that were shown off E3, so I guess we should probably take a look at these as well and see what they do. Probably pre-scripted levels. But let's take a look at some of the test things first. So we've got some test room standard. Let's see what that does. As you can see, it's a test room. Very nice. Everything's obviously got orange weird textures. It's kind of giving me a bit of a Portal feel, this. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. This is the lovely Alex Vance, and she's looking kind of close to how she does in the final, to be honest, except again lower resolution textures. Oh, flashlight. Hello. She doesn't seem to be responding much, except she's looking at me, so that's a good thing. Speak to me. The first aid and HEV points, which look like they come from Half-Life 1, actually. They don't look like they've been updated for the new game. And everything else is just basically untextured stuff, test stuff, I guess. Ladders you can test. Stairways you can test. Testing. The stairs don't go anywhere, except here. Boom. Is that a urinal? Why is there a urinal? Okay, why are the two... Where did she come from? You've been cloned! Ah! And also, urinal. And a bidet. What is going on here? Very strange. Very strange stuff going on there, indeed. None of these doors seem to work. Let's have a look at another test level. I think we've got another one here called Test Room Commander. I don't know what that does. Oh, hello. Well, that was glitchy. We have some tram tracks built into the ground here, which is interesting because I don't think tram tracks appear in the final version. So, and as anyone who knows me knows, I do like a good tram. So this seems to be some sort of battle test, I'm guessing, or testing of the... yeah, I guess this is testing the group leading ability. Guess what it means by commander, because in the final game, of course, when you get to the City 17 section later on in the game, without giving too much spoilers for anyone who has somehow not played this game, you do get to lead and command followers. So I guess this is what this is testing, but they don't seem to be doing anything except standing around chatting to each other. We have a little bit of a basic building here with a door which is opened in a manner which is not befitting of a real door. All this is fascinating test stuff. It's kind of interesting how games during their development cycle have these test levels which you never see in the final game. Or at least, I guess this building may have been intended to appear in the final game in some derivative. But it's interesting how they build these levels to test stuff. You never see them; they never go anywhere. It's purely just to test physics and test AI logic and things of that nature. So it's kind of fascinating to see all this stuff, which people never really see, and I guess people don't realise that all this effort goes into these games. Error! I think we're going to take a look at some of these E3 levels and see what they do. So we've got some tech demos here. So E3 Tech Demo 1. I guess these would have been shown off at E3 at some stage, at least possibly after they were finished, because this one just has error! We have another E3 Tech Demo here, which isn't fully textured, but it's kind of like a cavernous area, and it leads off into this swimming pool here, which has got loads of things that float and bob and all this kind of crazy stuff. You can kind of use this as kind of like a floaty physics kind of demo, so I'm guessing they use this to kind of show off the physics engine and stuff. I think you get a interesting version of the gravity gun, which hasn't been modelled yet. It's called the fizz gun in this, physics gun I guess, and it just looks like the pistol, but you can do some basic picking up and dropping of stuff. So that's kind of interesting. Obviously it's the final fizz gun or gravity gun had not been modelled yet. Although I guess they kind of had an idea for the design of it. Looking at the thumbnail there, it doesn't look anything like it does in the final, but it does look like they've given some thought to the design. You can't really see it very well because the textures are just all non-textured, but there is like a little there's like a little board here with barrels. If we can possibly take one of these off. There we go. Plinko! It's like play your cards right, but only much more shit, and in a Half-Life 2 Physics E3 demo engine thing. Another level here called Dev Test. See what this is, I guess, more used for developers rather than it would have been used on... Oh wow, okay, now this is very interesting. I think I've just come to a conclusion here, which may be a leap of faith, but I did hear a rumour about it. I'm just going to no-clip because I appear to have gone into the floor, but is this the Borealis? Could it be the Borealis? I'm going to have to look for some evidence of that in a moment. Yeah, originally I believe that Half-Life 2 was supposed to start off on the Borealis, which was a Aperture Science ship. I don't know if it would have been classed as that at this point, but of course it was referenced in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 at the end, and also in Portal 2 you could find an Easter egg where you could get into the dry dock of the Borealis. So that's kind of interesting. I do remember hearing a rumour that actually you were supposed to start off on that ship. You do seem to have your G-suit and some weapons here. This level's labelled Dev Test, and obviously it's kind of really basic. The skybox is literally a box, for example, and there's a load of items scattered about that shouldn't be, but we do have a ship that's being built here, along with ship textures and assets and things like that. So, oh, we've got a full ship to explore. Okay, this is quite exciting. Quite glad I've gone onto this level. This is a nice way to end this video, I think, because unfortunately I'm not going to be able to go through the whole game, unfortunately, because I haven't got the time. But I'm going to take a look at as much stuff as I can. Don't know what that is. I don't remember that from the final game, and quite frankly it looks frightening. Make it die, make it die. It fires fucking laser beams. What the fuck is that? Wow. Okay. So I know it's a bit of a long shot, but I'm going to look for evidence of the word Borealis and possibly even evidence of Aperture Science, should it exist. Although again, I'm not sure it would have been existed unless you would want to call that an intelligence core. So it's like the kitchen or the galley. Obviously the whole place is on fire. There's a door there. Is that a head crab guy vending machine? Does that have anything conclusive on it? You can't really read the writing on that, so not too sure about that. I'm going to take no clip off if I dare, but I guess I'm going to get pounded by enemies when I do. They all seem to be ignoring me. That just seems like a dude with a pretty standard shirt. And again, you can't really come to any conclusions. Again, I'm pretty sure there's not going to be any references to Aperture Science in this, because obviously I don't think they'd come up with that idea yet, but it would be nice if there was. It's like a frozen galley area. So clearly they'd gone to town on the ship level. Obviously, they've started building a lot of it. In fact, it looks more fleshed out than a lot of levels do on this beta, quite frankly. Can't seem to fit down that hole for some reason. We'll come back to that later. Although I will say that this galley area kind of looks a bit 1970s with all the wood and oak. And if you're following from Portal 2, that's when the Borealis was built. So, coincidence? Probably. Wow, you have an interesting way of walking upstairs, sir. But good for you. Obviously the ship must have come under attack or something, I think. I'm going to have to do some research into it, but I believe at the beginning of Half-Life 2 you were supposed to originally start off on the ship instead of the train area. So whether this beta version came after the leak or something, I don't know. Or whether they just changed the minds. To be honest, I've not done any research into this because I'm utterly rubbish. This is the back of the ship, unfortunately. It's not been modelled beyond this point. Let's have a no clip down this little hole down here then, see what's going on down here. Again, nothing that really confirms or denies the name of the ship, unfortunately. There is some walkways that we can't get to though. Some enemies combine there. Engine room. Ooh, computer screen there. Doesn't have anything on it though, unfortunately, so that doesn't really tell us anything. So unfortunately, in conclusion, I don't know whether this is the Borealis or not, but I kind of like to think it is, so I think we'll go with that. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this beta review. It's a little bit of a weird one, but I thought it would be an interesting topic to just have a quick look at this early version of Half-Life 2. Thumbs up if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and check out all the other videos, and also, if you haven't already, you need to check out the latest episode of One Life to Live with James Heaney, where he plays Batman Arkham Origins. It's good stuff. Anyway, enough rambling. Thanks for watching, and ta-ra!